now. We go through each team in the National Football League day by day, talking about what they have to do to reboot for 2021. And we will continue our little journey, our little walk through the AFC East with the New England Patriots. So if you take a look at their offseason so far, mac and cheese, that's what it's all about. They take the quarterback with the 15th overall pick. He's throwing to two notable new targets, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry at tight end, loaded. Plus, Dante Hightower is set to return after opting out from the 2020 season. His presence cannot be understated. Now, they also, of course, still have Cam Newton. I'm sure a lot of New England fans not happy to hear me saying Mac Jones is going to be throwing to those tight ends. It seems to me the offense is sort of built for Cam Newton's skill set. We'll see how it shakes out in training camp. Adam Rank has something up at NFL.com called State of the Franchise. He asks one simple question. In order to compete this year, New England has to do what, KB?
They have to make these tight ends stars. I really mean that. We're going to hit the quarterback a lot, but this tight end thing with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith has to work. And I mean big production, not just blocking or change up. Like, I need stats, yards, touchdowns. They need to become one of the premier tight end tandems that we've seen in the last 25 years. And I looked into it. There's not a ton of great tight end tandems really ever, but especially in modern times. These are some of the guys they need to aspire to be, though. Like, think about what you've seen from these teams. Roll the thing. All right, so Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, kind of under the radar, not terribly prolific, but they combined for 1,500 yards. I think the Patriots might actually be too low for 1,500. I don't know if that's going to do it. However, look at these guys, Gronk and Marty B. They had a great year in 2016, obviously under Belichick, very productive. There's a couple other ones, too. Hunter Henry, interestingly enough, with Antonio Gates when Hunter was a rookie, whole bunch of touchdowns. I think they combined for 15. Jonnu would need to be Gates. And then Ben Watson and Jimmy Graham were also really good. Obviously, also Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez were prolific under Bill Belichick. These guys, when we do the highlights on Mondays, we got to see Hunter Henry. We got to see Jonnu Smith. I just don't know if they have the firepower otherwise to keep up with some of these teams in the AFC that can really put up points. They're strong. They run. They'll play some D. But, like, I need these two guys to be stars. They spent all the capital. They spent all the money. I need star stuff, touchdowns on Monday morning from these tight ends.
I feel like in order for these guys to compete, Cam Newton is going to have to embrace Newton's Law. Newton's Law is that one object will remain at rest or in a state unless it's compelled by an external force. What do I mean by that? Every external force that Cam Newton is listening to. The fans that are criticizing, saying, you're washed, it's over. How about mac and cheese? Them going and getting Mac Jones, even though Cam Newton understands that that's what they were supposed to do, that still is an external force that's going to push you to be a better quarterback. How about all of these playmakers that they now have on the roster? That is one of the biggest motivating factors for a quarterback when there is no excuses. Yeah. Last year, there was a little bit of excuse, right? You had the COVID season. Cam Newton was the latest quarterback to become a starter. And on top of that, they weren't really throwing the ball to superstars. No more excuses. I feel like there are more external forces that are pushing Cam Newton to be the best version of himself right now, because if he isn't, then Cam Newton will either be forced to retire or he will be a backup quarterback for the rest of his career.
Nate, are there no excuses? I feel like there will be one. I feel, the wideouts weren't good enough. There's always an excuse.
There always is one. But you have to think about everyone that we have said about Cam Newton, we've used it to exhaustion. The receivers weren't good enough last year. He's been banged up. Cam Newton's always injured. It's a new system. He has to learn the playbook. Remember, people struggle when they go to New England figuring out what's... We don't have that anymore. 2 years in the system, they have playmakers, and now Cam Newton understands if he doesn't play well, mac and cheese, he's going to be on the dinner table.
Interesting.
To me, the biggest thing for the Patriots this year is follow Bill Belichick. He's coming off his first losing season in 20 years, the most successful coach in NFL history. A guy who literally has a boat named 8 rings. He's got to update that. He wants to change it to 9. Yes, it's Roman numerals. You got to delete the whole thing. Go high X. It's a big pain. He's Bill Belichick. He can afford it. Bill Belichick is 69 years old. He doesn't need this. But you know he was sitting there watching Tom Brady make a Super Bowl run last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know somewhere in the back of his head, he knows that part of the legacy, as much as, again, he's going to walk into Canton one day. Part of his legacy is going to be, did he win one after Tom Brady? He's always had a bunch of leaders in that locker room who are guys who came up in the Patriot way. Now all of a sudden you pay a bunch of free agents who all come in. How are those guys going to feel on a Monday morning after a win when Belichick is chewing you out at the front of the meeting room? He's going to double down on what's always made him successful. Get behind him, whatever it takes, because he knows how to take you where you want to get.
I think everyone needs to get behind Cam Newton as the guy. If you look at how this roster is built, it has power, run game built all over it. The offensive line, of course, they built a monster one capped off with the Trent Brown trade. It is tough. They have Cam Newton, one of the best when he's healthy, running backs at running quarterbacks in the National Football League that we've seen in a really long time. You've got legitimate running backs, Damian Harris, James White, Sony Michel, power running attack written all over this thing. So I think it's a passing league, Nate, but you have to play to your strengths in the National Football League. I don't think anybody does that better than Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, and I think that is what they're going to do. So I'm looking at the rushing attack. I know it's not the sexiest thing, but that is their path to the playoffs. The run game, led by Cam Newton, some flashy play from tight ends and touchdowns, and the defense that they hope to get back to top 5 in the league as it was the year before. I ask you, Kyle.
What do you got?
To talk a little bit more quarterback, because you didn't get to touch on it at all. Does Cam Newton deserve credit for how he has handled this entire thing so far? Because we talked before this even happened, before they drafted a quarterback, can Cam be a backup? Mm-hmm. Can he be a backup? Mm-hmm. Can he sit there? Can 2 quarterbacks exist in a quarterback room with a 2015 MVP? Mm-hmm. Well, how do you feel about it right now? Because it seems like it's working pretty well.
Well, I mean, he's been prolific in terms of the media and mac and cheese, and I love him, and I wasn't disappointed and all that, and it's all great. I find myself when I hear Cam talk these days being like, okay, well, can you play still? Because he has the sound bites right, and he's being a leader, but like, I want to know if he can still play. He's going to start this season. It's a lot of what we talk about this time of year. We talk about with Daniel Jones. He's a leader. He's tough. Okay, are you good? Like there's so much talk at this point.
Right,
That's why we need the games to start. Cam sounds great, and I have been impressed. But if he gets pulled in the third quarter of week 1, I don't care what he says in the media. I want to see him convert some third downs, and I don't know if he can.
I just think sometimes quarterbacks don't have to understand that they took a quarterback within the draft. Like, he wants it to be his team. He thinks he still has it. He was sort of loud about it. He's a confident guy. He's sort of taken him, and he's said all the right things so far, which not that I didn't expect that, but I think he deserves a little credit for that, because it can't be easy.
Maybe you should tell that to Aaron Rodgers.
That's kind of why I'm bringing it up, Nate.
You're scared to say his name?
I'm just trying to bring it up as a little like...
Aaron, I love you.
We do love you, Aaron. All right.